So what is Deaf Plus? It refers to children who are deaf or hard of hearing that have any additional disability. It could be medically, physically, socially, educationally, et cetera, et cetera. For us, with Malik, just to give you a personal story, Malik was born in Boston and was serviced at Boston Children's Hospital because this was almost 24 years ago, and we were, first of all, just trying to keep him alive. He was born with his esophagus was connected to his windpipe, so it stopped here and it stopped here. We realized that he not only had the tracheoesophageal fistula, he had a heart defect. In fact, his heart, the 4 chambers of his heart, there were no 4 chambers, they were all open. And then he had colobomas in both eyes. So at that point, we found out that he was blind in his left eye. He actually wasn't diagnosed with CHARGE syndrome until he was 3 years old. And he was diagnosed at Perkins School for the Blind. Our families are dealing with so many medical pieces. You talk about medical home, our books and our charts are huge. But how many of you have gotten, this is a child's diagnosis, and then diagnosis and diagnosis and diagnosis? And so oftentimes with families, we're not having one therapist in the house. We're having a therapist. So you have a doctor for every part of the body that needs special care. Then you have a therapist, a OT, PT, early intervention teacher, speech, thank you, the social worker that comes out to the house. What am I missing? I'm trying to think of a vision, if you have a vision loss, teacher, the hearing impaired. And so there are so many people. So imagine there are 5 days in a week and a family is finally out of the hospital maybe, and then they have, how do you coordinate all of the people in the house that come? And then you have the child that the service is being delivered to that is overwhelmed. Part of the challenge is helping folks to see the holistic picture. And because everyone has their specific areas, right, as we should, of specialty, but to see the child holistically. How does what you're doing affect this, affect their, especially when we're going for the 3-year-old transitions and they're going to be going into preschool. And, you know, they've had all of these services at home. How do you translate that into school? What is it that you want your child to do now, in a year, long term? Do you even have a vision? A lot of families with children who are Deaf Plus, we're looking at the here and now. And then the future comes, we're like, oh, now what do we do? Also, what does the child want? You know, helping the families to flesh out, what does the child want? What are the expectations? Keeping the expectations high. Pushing. Malik right now is living in a group home for young men who are deaf in Fayetteville. And it would not have been for people pushing me and saying, how are you going to help Malik live his best life? Not necessarily come home and have care providers, but what is Malik's best life? Not what you want for him, but what is his best life? He's working, he's doing different things, and he's happy. I would not, again, be standing here if it wasn't for the countless 23 years of people, professionals that have become family members, that have become friends, constantly pushing me and saying, yes, this is hard. Yes, this is difficult, but what are you going to do with it? This is what you've been given. What are you going to do with it? And then finally, what are you going to help families to do?